Hello, scholars. I would like to take a moment to walk you through the what and how of the research component of our project this semester. So to begin with, you'll be identifying a genre you wish to examine in further detail for the remainder of our term together. That means that in the future, you'll be doing research, basically gathering more artifacts of your genre, chosen genre type, and doing analysis similar to what you did on the genre analysis worksheet and paper, but only with a larger sample. So if you decided that you did your genre analysis paper on the cooking show Binging with Babish on YouTube, the genre analysis should have allowed you to make the claim that that is in fact a genre because it has these repeating identifiable features. Therefore, we can say that Binging with Babish on YouTube is a genre. When we meet for our conferences, we'll be deciding which of the 4 foundational forces that shape genre that Bill Hart Davidson outlined that we talked about in week 2, which of those you would like to look at in regards to your genre. Those 4 forces were reader expectation, social influence, monetary influence, and institutional norms. Now, the majority of you will probably end up going with social influence or reader expectation. And if you remember how we discussed it in class, that means in terms of reader expectation, if you were looking at an expanded pool of maybe 10 Binging with Babish videos, you'd be looking at the comments from them and determining how the genre is meeting the needs of its viewers. So perhaps a bunch of people commented that they liked this particular feature of an episode, and then you saw that feature appearing more and more often after that particular claim was made. That would be evidence that the content creator was responding to what it was that the audience wanted or liked. Similarly, you could look at, like, say, 2 or 3 different of those Binging with Babish episodes. Maybe you have like one with the most amount of views, one with the least amount of views, and one in the middle, and see what features are similar and different across those 3. And then you would look at other examples. Maybe then you would broaden your search to say, 3 of the most highly viewed, 3 of the least viewed, and 2 in the middle, and look at the repeating features of those to see how reader expectations are influencing that particular genre, because maybe there's this repeating thing that's happening in the most liked that's missing in the least liked, and that would be a way to look at that as well. Some of you might choose social influence, in which case you could look for things like the difference between maybe several popular YouTube cooking channels, maybe pick 3, the highest number of views, and look at, so maybe you started with Binging with Babish for your genre analysis, and then find 2 others and look at their episodes. I would say probably 3 to 4 each, analyzing them in terms of what are you seeing that's similar, what are you seeing that's different. So you could start to have an idea of what the social influences are on that particular genre of that type of video. Monetary forces would be if there were product placements and looking at the videos before product or endorsements, product placements, like what was the video like before, what is it like after, looking for those differences and seeing how then that monetary influence played a role in the formation of that genre. And the last one being institutional norms. What is that particular genre like? Maybe how is Binging with Babish creating content in a way that is not going to get them in trouble with YouTube's user policies in terms of like content that could get them flagged. So that's an example of how you would approach that particular genre in those different ways. So when we have our individual conferences, you and I will talk through which of those 4 forces you're going to look at and how that will happen. So you've heard me talk about the fact that for this class, we'll be doing primary and secondary research. And what that means is primary research is the analysis and observations that you will be collecting moving forward, the data you'll be gathering and the conclusions you can make about that data. Secondary research will be other sources that talk about your particular phenomenon. And that is the part we're going to do first. I don't know if that seems backwards to you, but that's how we're going to have to set it up. And you'll understand why as we move forward. So as we begin to look at how to use the library, how to use library resources, the reason we're doing that is because it's going to be your responsibility for our next assignment to find sources that talk about your particular phenomenon. Now, believe it or not, the UCF library is home to several databases and has journal subscriptions, and you would be amazed at the kinds of academic journals that are published that would be surrounding your particular topic. I know you're thinking, who on earth is writing papers about YouTube cooking videos? Well, honestly, there's a lot of current research, in particular in relation to writing and and writing studies about social media factions. So it could be there's a lot of research about YouTube. I know there's a lot of people that talk about Twitter, Instagram. I'm sure there's a blossoming group of scholars that's looking at TikTok. So whatever it is that you're deciding that you're going to research, you'll be able to find academic articles that talk about it so that you can establish what like the general pool of information is, or the different thoughts academically around your topic. So you'll be able to figure out how you're going to enter into that conversation with your own research. And that's what we're moving towards. So I don't expect you to have that all figured out just yet, but I did want you to know that the work we'll be doing as we progress, first, we're going to look for other sources that are at least adjacent to your topic. So maybe there are people that are looking at YouTube in other aspects that are not about cooking shows. It's still useful to have an idea what other academics are saying in regards to like looking at YouTube as a vehicle for communication. Okay. So that's where we're going to be moving with our intent towards our annotated bibliography, and then putting that together with the research you'll be conducting into the components of that major paper that will be like the culminating vehicle for all of your research and work outside of the genre analysis. The genre analysis was our toe in the water to determine what it is that we want to look at. Now that we've identified it, or at least said, okay, this is what I don't want to look at, but it might have given you an idea of other things that you do wish to investigate a little further. Trying to think of some examples that I could give you from past students. So I had someone look at the genre of Bad Bunny videos, and they did the rapper, not animals, but the rapper Bad Bunny. They looked at it in the lens of social expectations, and they actually honed in on these representations of toxic masculinity that were being pushed back against in these music videos. So it was social influence on the genre of Bad Bunny music videos and their reaction against toxic masculinity. Now that third part, that toxic masculinity part, didn't get added in until later in the process. So this particular student started with social influence on the music videos of the genre of Bad Bunny music videos. I've had students look at certain topics on Twitter. They have decided that they wanted to follow a hashtag or a particular type of content on Twitter. I've had students that have looked at particular Instagram personalities, influencers of different types, to look at what it is about their particular genre, looking for evidence usually of reader expectation or social influence on those particular content creators. Same thing with YouTube. I've had people look at YouTube video creators, video game creators. I've had people look at some things on oh gosh, is it called Twitch or Stitch? The platform for video game stuff, whatever that is. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Please don't hate me. So there's a lot of leeway, but I wanted to give you this background. So before we had our individual conferences, you'd have a better sense of what it is that we're doing and why. Because I don't know about you, I definitely need to know the why so that I can get on board with doing something. If I have the impression that it's merely arbitrary, that like, this is what you have to do because this is what we're doing, I react very negatively to that. So I like to always keep you in the loop in terms of, hey, this is what we're doing and this is why. Because as Stuart Green pointed out, Arguments are conversations that happen between academics. Academics are constantly furthering the existing body of knowledge on any particular topic, but they don't do that isolated in a room with no outside influence. They do that by having observations, saying, this is interesting to me, figuring out what other people have had to say about that topic or adjacent to that topic, so they can determine how they're going to fit their argument into that conversation. No one wants to be the person, we all know them, that when a group of people is standing around talking about something, suddenly blurts out, I had a ham sandwich for lunch. And you're like, cool, good story. You don't want to be that person that's yelling, I had a ham sandwich, and not fitting into the conversation. So this is an activity that gets you situated and aware of how to enter into academic conversations, because that's what scholars do. I've given you some things to think about, so I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Take care.